Hello, my name is Luisa Santos, and this is my presentation about some Mesopotamian harps that I found in the British Museum, as well as lyres. It's a group of objects, and harps and lyres are very similar, but this particular group of objects was found in the Mesopotamian section of the British Museum, and I will be going over them. So these are the pictures that I took. These are not from the internet. I took these pictures when I visited the British Museum. So first off, the silver lyre. It was found by Leonard Woolley. Actually, all of the objects that I will be discussing today were found by Leonard Woolley in a particular section of an excavation that he did. His official name, Sir Charles Leonard Woolley. He was a British archaeologist, and he was best known for his excavations at Ur in Mesopotamia. He is recognized as one of the first modern archaeologists, so to speak, who excavated in a more methodological way. So he was very keen about keeping records, having a method to everything. And his goal with this was to change archaeology, how it was done. So hopefully we could reconstruct ancient life and history in a more accurate, non-biased way. So the silver lyre was one of 4 musical instruments found in the Great Death Pit. So the Great Death Pit was actually a section of graves of the Royal Cemetery at Ur, which Leonard was excavating. And originally, when he found this silver lyre, it actually had a lot of decomposing wood and holes, so he made the quick decision to pour plaster into it, which is non-biodegradable. So that is why we have it as it is today in the British Museum, and it isn't crumbled. There are some changes made to it, though, just because it is so old and it needed to be preserved in the most accurate way. So the silver that covers this lyre and the bull's head are original. And the shell, the lapis lazuli, which is a gem, and the red limestone are all original, are all ancient, but the strings and pegs are modern. I will discuss in the next slide the original pegs and why they couldn't be kept. And the strings, obviously, it's a very fragile thing, and one of the first things, certainly, to decompose about this lyre. Next. So these are the original silver lyre pegs that I talked about that originally belonged to the silver lyre that Leonard found, but they couldn't be used in the actual reconstruction of it because nowadays they're really fragile and they just don't have function anymore. They are displayed in the British Museum because they were found in the Great Death Pit next to the silver lyre, which is a very renowned piece of archaeology found. And they're really fragile nowadays, so they obviously can't be used, but it was found, these, as well as the previous silver lyre that I discussed are from around 2500 BC. So the Queen's harp, also found by Leonard Woolley, the archaeologist that I previously discussed. This is a very nice harp because they have their original ancient turning pegs still, which was used for pitch, and they are gold-headed, so they're very well preserved. The wooden mount that it is placed on at the bottom, it's a modern addition just to give it a little bit more structure. And it was found in Queen Puabi's grave, crushed together with another lyre that I will actually be discussing in this group of objects. But this harp is very well respected in the archaeology community because it also has a lapis lazuli decoration. So that is a sign of wealth. So this is the reconstruction, actually. It's a wooden reconstruction of the previous harp that I talked about, just because it was found obviously without strings, and practically it can't be played. So this is a reconstruction that they put in the British Museum to show people this boat-shaped ancient Mesopotamian instrument that was so popular in ancient Mesopotamian music, and music was an important part in their religious and also secular ceremonies and banquets. Mesopotamians were very musical people, as we can see by the instruments found. And this reconstruction is actually nice because it showed the 13 strings that all of them were supposed to have, and it's just an accurate representation of how it once was. And it is based on sketches in cylinder seals and sketches made during the excavation by Leonard. So this is the most accurate reconstruction we currently have of Mesopotamian instruments. So the Queen's lyre, this lyre, once again, found by Leonard, and this is the one that I was talking about that was found crushed together in the same grave with the Queen's harp that I previously discussed. And this one actually also has lapis lazuli, and the lapis lazuli, the shell, and the red limestone decoration, as well as the head of the bull, are all original. But it is somewhat reconstructed. It has the wooden parts, pegs, and strings, and the bull's horns also are a modern reconstruction. So also this one is very significant because in it depicts some scenes in the front of the lyre. It shows a lion-headed eagle between gazelles, bulls with plants on hills, a bull man between leopards, and a lion attacking a bull. So it is actually much more detailed than one would think. So where were they found? These objects were all found in the greater area of what is what archaeologists now know as Mesopotamia. The silver lyre in particular, it was found in the Royal Cemetery at Ur, which I previously discussed that Leonard worked a lot on and he was known for. The Queen's harp, the specific find spot was also the Royal Cemetery at Ur, and the last one was also the Queen's harp and the Queen's lyre. They were all found at the Royal Cemetery at Ur. This is just a map of Greater Mesopotamia as we know it today. It's between these modern countries of Iran, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey. So the excavations, all done by Sir Leonard Woolley. This is a picture of him excavating one of the harps, and he would take charge of the excavations himself. Most of the time, he wanted to be in charge. He wanted people to follow his methods. He had a method to everything, so that's how it was done. And a lot of people don't believe him when he says this, but an interesting fact was that he claimed that one woman that was obviously dead, her skeleton was found next to the Queen's lyre, and her hands, according to Woolley, the bones of her hands were placed where the strings would have been. A lot of people don't believe him, but that's what he said happened in the excavation. I also already said this, but Woolley chose to plasterboard to fill a lot of the wooden decomposing lyres because it's not biodegradable, unlike wood, so we can keep them in museums, and we have them until today. The Queen's harp, it had 11 strings once, but another pin was found, and they realized that it actually had more strings. The silver lyre was originally reconstructed by Woolley using paraffin wax, but the wax gave in and the object was actually removed from display. The last thing I just wanted to mention is why I chose the harps. I chose the harps because I'm interested a lot in music and history of music, and I think it's interesting how in every culture, no matter how far back you go, no matter how isolated they might have been, no matter how different they are from each other, every culture, every human civilization has always had music and been tied to music. And I think it's interesting how we do have modern reconstructions, believed to be very accurate to how these instruments would have been, but we obviously don't know exactly what their music sounds like. We don't have their specific notes, sheet music, so we can only wonder, and that to me is very interesting. But we have their instruments, but we don't know exactly what their music sounds like. That's very interesting to me. Thank you for your time.